I'd like to introduce very much a graduate of our first program, has already been stated, Representative Dr. Carl Newton.
Thank you. It's indeed a privilege to be here. As you probably know, I have 40 years of practice now. Now, I was only 10 years old when I was the youngest member enrolled in the College of Optometry. No, I wish I was. We had 17 graduates that year in 1983. Beginning, my topic today to share with you is from the beginning till now. What worse thing can happen than you get an old guy up here to reminisce about the past, right? So, charter class. What's it like to be in a charter class? Good thing. No upperclassmen. Nobody puts you down. Nobody puts you in your place. Bad thing. No test files. No history on any professor. You have no idea what they're doing, where it's going to come from. One of the things that was hardest was great uncertainty. We were accredited for 1 year. And middle of that year, we were accredited for the second year. At the end of that year, we weren't accredited for our third and fourth year. It was not until the summer between our second and third year that we got accreditation from the National Accreditation to go ahead and be accredited for a third and fourth year. So there was uncertainty. We were all worried. We're going to Houston, we're going to Southern, we're going to Pacific. There was the three options laid out for us, but we were blessed to be here and to get to stay and finish up here at Tahlequah. So, as many of you, some may know, and many of you may not, my daughter is currently a fourth year student here. I won't make her stand up, but Stacy is here, and she's a lot smarter than me, so just so you students, she's a lot smarter than me. But we did a little comparison from then till now. When in 1979, when I enrolled our first semester, we had 3 full-time faculty. 3. And that one of them included the secretary of the secretary. So we had Dr. Van Veen, so many of you probably have heard of him or known of him. He served here for 40 years. Great man. Enjoyed it. I got to do work study for him. One of the funny stories is we were an odd number, right? And in clinic, you have to have somebody to be patient. And I was doing work study. So part of my work study was at 8 o'clock in the morning, I had to be a patient for another doctor that morning. So talk about getting dilated in the morning twice a week. It was fun. So anyway, now they have 34 faculty. Compare clinic. We got to start clinic the summer after our first year. There wasn't anybody to see him. The need was great. Right now, it's the middle of your second year, correct? Spring of your second year. So, can I share my first patient? One of the first doctors get to come back and see patients. My first patient, 92-year-old female, first eye exam, and only spoke her native language, Cherokee. After 3 hours, no kidding, great patience on her part. I'm glad she stayed alive. And knowing that she had grade 4 cataracts, and if you know anything, when you first start out seeing patients in clinic, you do it by the book. You know, you check phoreas, you check ductions, you check accommodative ability and all that. And we did all those tests. Poor lady survived. She had grade 4 cataracts. For the students, the doctors, they'll appreciate that. She survived it. I thank goodness that. We referred her for cataract surgery. But that was my first patient. And it's been a blessing to be able to do that. Another comparison. The most advanced thing we had when I graduated was we were working with binocular indirect ophthalmoscopes, and we're using topical treatment for glaucoma, which was not approved in the state at that time. So you can see where the advances we have now. We have PRK, refractive surgery. We have corneal cross-linking, which helps with keratoconus. We have SLT and YAG, all those advances you guys back there as students get to do that we didn't even dream of getting to do. But it's a blessing to get to be a part of that. Clinics, how many clinics do we have? One. And then now you have 10 different clinics that you can go to. We had a note service back then. Does anybody know what mimeographing means? Does anybody remember that? That's how we got our notes. The Department of Science let us come over and use a mimeograph machine, and we print off notes for everybody to have during the class. So, most dreaded class. I'm sorry, Dr. Miller, if you're here, it doesn't change. It's still immunology. So over 40 years, for some of you that may not know, first 2 years were in Haskell Hall. Everybody thinks it's Wiley Hall, but we were in Haskell Hall for the first 2 years. Moved over to Wiley Hall, where we got to have lectures and everything there, and the famed lecture room had a huge post right in the middle of it. And then you got to go to the Hastings Hospital, old Hastings Hospital, which Dr. Lighthizer was up there talking to me about the leaky roof recently and stuff like that. But you know, it's a blessing. We're going to have, for the first time in 40 years, we're going to have a facility designed for a College of Optometry, designed for clinical space in that building. And so that is a great step forward that we've never had in the previous 40-some years. And we are truly blessed to be sitting in one of the greatest settings for a College of Optometry. Thank you to the Cherokee Nation for their insight, the need they saw with their citizens, that they needed the health care that was there. And so they called Dr. Pfeiffer, which was mentioned earlier, down, and he was the dean at Houston, and he came up just to visit. He liked the idea so much, he resigned down there and moved up here to take this college. Because if you guys know anything, what's the one thing they always ask for you when you go for a job? What experience do you have? You, here at Tahlequah, have a multitude of patients. Many colleges of optometry have to go out and recruit their own patients to come in and see them. You have a lot more health experience than any other college of optometry, and I think with this addition of this building, it will vault us way above anybody else. Thank you, and it is my pleasure to get to introduce the president of the Oklahoma Optometric Association, Dr. Kyle Tate. Kyle, good to see you.